Star Wars Outlaws releases in 2 days, and in my opinion this is one of the best Star Wars games that has ever released. It is a third-person open-world RPG game that gives you the ability to not only go around and complete missions in the local areas, but travel to other planets as well. One of the things that I was not expecting from this game was the ability to actually get in your ship and fly around and travel places by flying around. So let's get started with the basics. You play as Kay Vess, and you have this little creature following you around called Nyx. Now you yourself as Kay Vess, you have a blaster and you have tools that allow you to pick locks. You can obviously also jump and slide and crouch and do stealth stuff and everything. And there are a lot of stealth mechanics in this game that allow you to sneak around and take out the bad guys without actually being spotted. But you can also use Nyx to help you as well. Not only can you send Nyx to certain areas so that he is able to essentially distract enemies and even cameras, you can also send him to attack enemies where he'll jump on them, distracting them for long enough for you to go in and do a stealth takedown. This is very useful when there are two enemies in an area near each other and you want to take them out quickly. You can send Nyx onto one of them, and as he jumps up onto them you can stealth take down the second one and then take down the first one if you're quick enough. Nyx also is very useful in the way that he can go and collect things at a distance from you. He can open things up, hold levers, and even sabotage things for you. Also has the ability to pickpocket enemies and bring stuff to you. Now from my experience, sometimes he'll get credits, and if you put a pickpocket stormtroopers, he seems to bring back grenades pretty much all the time. But Nyx is not just a companion that kind of follows you around, there's also a lot of things you can get him to do, which makes him very much a part of the game. You also have the ability to hold a button in order to use like a sonar ability that he has, where it can show you where close enemies are to you when you can't see them. This is really useful if you're sneaking around and you need to know where the enemies are. You can use this ability to pinpoint where they are without actually having to come out of your stealth area. You also have the ability in the stealth part to go into grass and things like that so you're not seen. When it comes to your blaster, you have the ability to upgrade your blaster in different ways throughout the game. You do have the ability to shoot at enemies and take them out, as well as use a stun pulse, which is able to knock them out from a distance, which can also be useful as well. Very early on in the game, you will get access to a speeder. The speeder is your primary way of traveling around on planets. You do have the ability to upgrade your speeder to make it faster and make it more reactive, which allows you to travel around a lot quicker, as well as change the appearance of the speeder if you want to. But the speeder is not the only vehicle in the game. Once you get through a quite long intro section of the game, you'll eventually get access to your ship. You can also fly to other planets and travel in your ship. When I first did this, I actually have expected it to be the whole go up into space, select where you want to go and then go there, but you can actually fly around the local area and explore to find things. And they also bring in the whole ship-to-ship combat, which is very interesting for a Star Wars game that's not Rogue Squadron, for example, or, other games like that. You have the ability to not only travel around areas and explore and find secrets and treasures, but you also have the ability to go to space stations and places like that in the local area. One thing you do need to realize in this game is that when it comes to purchasing things, your reputation will make things cheaper or more expensive for you. And what this means is that you can travel to different places that you may have more reputation in order to buy certain things for cheaper. So you will find yourself traveling on your ship and going to different little areas in order to get things cheaper at some point in the game. And being as I've mentioned reputation, when you do missions, your reputation with certain factions will increase or decrease depending on what you've done. Now this is a case of some factions don't like other factions, so when you do more missions for one of them, then obviously your reputation for the other one's going to drop. In certain parts of the world, there are areas that you can travel into if you have a high enough reputation with that faction. So what this means is that if you've got a high reputation with, for example, Crimson Dawn, you have the ability to travel into an area where you wouldn't normally be able to travel when you're neutral. As you increase your reputation, you get access to more secretive parts of their areas where you can go in and find secrets and stuff without having to sneak around and find it in a stealthy approach. Obviously you can do stealth if you want to, but if you just want to be able to walk in there freely, then getting your reputation up with one of the factions is definitely a beneficial thing to do. And now we'll go on to the mission stuff. So you have the main game missions, which obviously will progress the story, but you can also pick up missions from people in town areas, and this gives you the ability to just earn some extra money or get some unlockables or something like that, as well as level yourself up, obviously. So once you leave the first starting world and you travel to the next planet, you'll find it is a very large planet. There's a lot of little secrets to find when you're traveling around. So you can find, for example, Imperial terminals, which you can hack into in order to get credits. You can also find little hidden secrets and things, as well as data pads. And most games you'll find that a data pad is just there with information with lore and stuff, but in this game, data pads can give you information. Now, for example, there is a betting game, and earlier on in the game you will have information that will suggest you bet on a certain thing. If you choose to do this, you'll win and you'll get credits. And throughout the game world, there is information like this in data pads, which will give you a upper hand when it comes to betting, for example. So looking at data pads when you find them can actually be very useful, because you can find hidden treasure and things that you wouldn't normally find otherwise. And being, as I mentioned, the whole racing part of it where you can bet on it, there are several other games that you can play in this, and as far as I've come across so far, you have 2 arcade machines that I keep coming across in pretty much every marketplace where you can play to get a high score, as well as Kessel Sabat, which is a kind of card game that is played in 3 rounds. It's actually a pretty good game to play, and if you win all 3 rounds, you win the chips and you get credits, so it can be beneficial to sit down at tables and play those. You can also find things around the game world that give you an upper hand in playing Kessel Sabat, and these are things like cheats that you can use for nicks to go and cheat for you to help you get an upper hand, or there are certain switch tokens that you're able to use, and when you collect more of them you have the ability to use those when you're in the game, but you have to find them in the game world first. When it comes to customization in this game, you can customize the clothing of Kay Vess, as well as some upgrades to the way that Nyx looks. You can upgrade the appearance of your speeder bike, and you can upgrade the appearance of your blaster, as well as the appearance of your ship. So there is quite a lot of customization available there, and there are other little things in the game world that you will discover that I'm not going to go into too much detail about, but there is a part of it where it's about Nyx treats, and it's certain foods that you eat where you have to do these really weird real-time like button press sequences. It's not something if you fail you lose, but essentially you have to press buttons in a certain order at a certain time in order to eat food, which I know it sounds really weird, but it's a thing that exists, and you do gain stuff from it. But it was a weird inclusion into a game like this. I didn't really expect that. Now, I am only a few hours into the game and I expect a hell of a lot more to come out of it, and I think there's going to be more there. But this review was based on my own experience of the game after putting in several hours into it, and this has been about 8 to 9 hours so far. And I can say this is definitely a game that I'm going to play to completion, because it is a really good Star Wars game. It's a very solid entry into the Star Wars games, with all the customizations, the different things you can do, all of the side quests and the main missions, and even the story as it is so far. It's worth giving it a go, and it's definitely something that I would recommend that you play if you like Star Wars. But if you enjoyed this review, and then hit that subscribe button down below, because it helps out my channel a lot. But if this isn't good enough for you, then check out my Star Wars Outlaws no commentary video. It was a live stream that I recorded, and it's out there to watch right now, so check that out. It's over an hour long, gives you a good idea of the intro and the start of the game, and it might be something you'll enjoy to watch. Other than that, thank you for watching my video. I've been Lycan from Green Lycan Reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.